As the project leader, I was handed one drink after another at tonight's celebration dinner. I usually have a decent tolerance for alcohol, but mixing white wine, beer, and red wine left me unsteady on my feet when I got out of the taxi. In a daze, I suddenly remembered something and reached for my phone. What date is it again? The ST, right? Yes, the ST. It's my younger sister's birth. I've been so swamped lately that I completely forgot to get her a gift ahead of time. I opened my contact list and dialed Mom. The ringtone cut through the quiet night, playing a melody that was both gentle and melancholy. When did she switch to this kind of tone? I pressed my fingers against my forehead, trying hard to remember, but the phone was answered after just one ring. The other end was silent, with only faint breathing audible, and no one spoke for a long time. I lay sprawled on the sofa, my stomach feeling terrible, muttering weakly, I really miss you. Crash. Suddenly, a harsh noise came from the phone, as if some device had fallen to the ground. Immediately afterward, the person on the other end spoke in a trembling voice. Aiden, what did you say? Why was it a man's voice? I turned over, didn't have time to think much, and drifted off into a drowsy sleep on the sofa. 2. The next day, I opened my phone and was shocked to see a huge number of unread messages. I thought something was wrong with the project and nervously opened it, only to find out that Robert, my ex-boyfriend from several years ago, had been sending a flood of messages. Don't call me anymore. I've already moved on. Who broke up with whom back then? Now regretting it. If you really beg me, I might think about getting back together. What exactly are you trying to say? Missed me and want a second chance. If you have the guts to call, have the courage to speak. Don't act like you don't know I'm on the other end of this phone. Still playing hard to get, Fine, I'll admit it. You've managed to catch my attention with your little game, but don't be so stubborn. Just come clean and say you want us back together. It's not embarrassing at all. Aiden, where are you? Now you're shy, alright. Since you seem truly sorry, I'll reluctantly agree. Okay, honey, where are you? I'm coming to get you right now. Then came a string of missed calls. What's going on? Who called me? And when did I ever say I'd get back together with Robert? Breaking up was so messy. There's no way I'd ever get back with Robert. I gave a confused look and checked the call log. There was a strange record. I called Robert myself at 1 in the morning, and it lasted over 2 hours. I lowered my head, trying hard to remember what had happened back then, until I caught sight of the date and suddenly realized this call must have been meant for Mom. So I sent Robert a text. Sorry, I dialed the wrong number. Won't bother you again. Unexpectedly, he replied right away. Who were you actually trying to call? 3. Mind your own business. After sending that, I got up to brush my teeth and didn't pay any more attention to him. But when I sat down at the table for breakfast, Robert's messages kept popping up one after another. Honestly, I wasn't really hoping to get back together. I just felt sorry for you. Not that I'm really dying to know who the other person is, but since you were married once, it's only fair to share a little, right? I don't actually want to get involved in your relationship stuff. I've got strong moral principles. After all, that's so ridiculous. I rolled my eyes. Didn't he know the rule is that a proper ex should just disappear completely? For the project wrapped up, and I took my first short break this month, just thinking about hitting the gym for a bit, when my boss's urgent call came through. Aiden, his cheerful tone was hard to hide early in the morning. How come you never mentioned knowing Robert? Don't take the day off tomorrow. Come back to the office to connect with their team. Wow, who would have thought our company would ever get this kind of attention? What was he even talking about? What do you mean about knowing Robert and coordinating with their team? I suddenly had a bad feeling and cautiously asked, You're talking about that singer Robert with millions of fans, right? Come on, keeping it secret would be no fun. Didn't he tag you on Weibo? I panicked and immediately opened Weibo. The trending list had at least 10 entries featuring Robert. Robert released a song late at night. Robert's new song. What's Robert and Aiden's relationship? Shengjia Mr. Aiden is so handsome. The moment I saw Robert and Aiden's names mentioned together, I felt lightheaded. When I checked in, I found that Robert had posted 2 updates at exactly a. Was he out of his mind? My hands trembled as I tapped to open the comments. Robert looks really handsome in person. Oliver covered his mouth and gently tugged at the edge of my suit jacket. I glanced at the man before me and gave a casual nod. He's quite handsome, I'll admit. His well-tailored light blue shirt sleeves are rolled halfway up. His legs look perfectly proportioned. He could be posing for a poster just by standing there. I never expected we'd run into each other again under these circumstances. Years after our breakup, yesterday, Robert's team reached out to me, asking to shoot a few scenes at Wasnt Corp for the music video of Spring Sounds, just to explain those 2 posts from it. I only agreed after my boss promised to triple my year-end bonus. Mr. Aiden, I really appreciate your help. Robert removed his sunglasses and shook my hand, his tone polite yet distant, as if we'd never met before. Yes, back then I was the one who left him during the peak of his career, ignoring the redness in his eyes and his shaky pleas to stay, packing up and vanishing without a trace that same night. He's always been proud, so it makes sense he'd hold a grudge. Let's just keep it professional. I was about to pull my hand back, but I didn't expect Robert's grip to be so strong that I couldn't free it right away. Robert, noticing the unusual expressions on everyone's faces, the agent had no choice but to speak up. Oh, sorry about that. Robert released my hand, blinked innocently, and wore a look of pure innocence. Mr. Aiden reminded me so much of someone from my past that I didn't react in time. My apologies. Not a problem, I said, my lips twitching slightly. My gut told me the work ahead wouldn't be simple at all. Sure enough, Robert never knew the meaning of holding back. Before filming started, he claimed his assistant had an injury and insisted I go into the changing room to help. I glanced at the assistant labeled as injured. She was holding a makeup case that looked to weigh 10 or so kilograms. When she heard Robert's words, she dropped it with a loud clang. Oh yes, I did hurt my hand. Could you be any more obvious? The following shoot went smoothly, with Robert being very cooperative. Wow, really great. Robert's performance today is excellent. The photographer was highly impressed. Yes, exactly like this pose. There's that kind of melancholy yet striking look. Shall we try a different outfit? Robert suddenly spoke up. When our eyes met, he added, I'll do it myself. Ha! The photographer paused, then shook his head. No need. We only need 1 or 2 shots. Let's change into another outfit. Since we're already here, Robert unbuttoned 2 buttons, revealing his pale collarbones faintly. Are you being this cooperative today? Beside him, the agent murmured quietly. Seeing the shoot going smoothly, I patted Oliver on the shoulder. You keep an eye on things for a bit. I'm stepping out for a smoke. Just as I reached the door, I was called out by Henry, the company's intern. He held a laptop, his face flushed. Aiden, I'm not quite sure about this section. Could you help me with it? Considering how diligent he usually is, I nodded and led him to the indoor sofa. What part do you need help with? Robert, look this way. This way. Robert, the photographer's voice was so loud I instinctively looked up. I was caught off guard, suddenly meeting someone's gaze. The situation happened so quickly that Robert didn't have time to hide his reaction. His expression clearly showed he was observing closely. Aiden, Henry called out to me. You've always been kind to me, and I've learned a lot from you, the young man said, his eyes flickering and his ears turning slightly red. Could I invite you to my place this Saturday for my birthday? That familiar look. My mind sounded an alarm, and I was about to say no when Robert's voice suddenly cut in. Sorry to interrupt. I just came over to rest for a bit. Those light amber eyes flickered between me and the young man, a smile playing on his lips. Didn't I just catch you two in the middle of something? And no, not at all. The conversation was cut off, and Henry's face instantly turned bright red. He left with a quick, I'll wait for you, before hurrying away, clutching his laptop. As soon as the other person was gone, Robert immediately dropped his polite act and let out a cold chuckle. Oh, getting that close? I almost felt like shipping you too. Seems Mr. Aiden still has a way of catching the attention of guys, even after all these years since their breakup. 6. Although Robert's tone was sharp and sarcastic, he wasn't wrong. During my college years, working part-time at a bar, almost every night there would be handsome young men blushing as they approached me to strike up a conversation. According to them, I had this calm, detached expression. Neatly dressed in a waiter's uniform, wearing silver-rimmed glasses, and glancing at people with quiet composure. Exactly the kind of look that turned heads. Back when I was still with Robert, he couldn't take his eyes off me. He'd always want to be right by my side, afraid that if he took his eyes off me for even a moment, someone else might take me away. To ease my boyfriend's insecurities, I started using the same flirty words others directed at me. On him instead. Whenever that happened, Robert's eyes would grow red, and he'd bury his face in my neck, breathing softly while teasing playfully. I just want to stay close forever, don't want to let go. 7. In theory, someone like me shouldn't have any connection with Robert, a carefree and romantic rich kid, but our first meeting happened exactly in the bar he later came to strongly dislike. One evening during my junior year's second term, I was changing clothes in the staff locker room of a part-time bar when Robert suddenly burst in. Sorry, I just need to hide for a moment. The young man leaned against the door, breathing heavily. John's such a troublemaker, tricking me into coming to a place like this. He kept muttering for a while, before finally remembering there was someone else in the room. As he looked up, he blurted out, "Your waist is so slender." I finished getting dressed at my own pace, turned around, and gave him a calm glance. "Is there something I can help you with?" The young man froze the moment our eyes met. His face turned an odd shade of red, flustered and hesitant, yet he finally asked, "Are all the waiters at gay bars as handsome as you?" Seeing that I didn't respond, his face turned even redder. "Sorry, I just wanted to hide from the gay guy outside. No, I don't mean any harm. Actually, I think it's fine for two men to be together. Need a mask? You're so striking looking. Wearing one might help you blend in better." I reached into my bag and handed him a mask. "Thank you. I'm Robert. I'm years old, centimeters tall, weigh pounds, and I'm a second-year student in the finance department at Pingjing University." He opened his WeChat QR code with slightly nervous movements, but his expression was sincere and focused. Could we add each other on WeChat? Our second meeting happened the very next day at the campus singer competition. He was a contestant, and I was in charge of the student office team. After the competition ended, I stayed behind to clean up. When I turned around, I saw Robert carrying a guitar and jumping onto the stage. "If I had known you were in the audience," he plucked a chord, "I would have sung this song as my entry." His voice was soft and slightly husky as he hummed an unknown love song. The stage lights bathed his amber eyes that sparkled with a smile, turning into shimmering golden glimmers. In that moment of eye contact, I felt my heart, silent for 20 years, beat just a little faster. From that night on, Robert started showing up frequently at the bar where I worked part-time. While politely turning down wave after wave of men, he kept watching me with bright, attentive eyes. On the way back to my dorm every day, he'd casually bring up topics like, "Did you see that couple just now? They were really close in the restroom. Since you work at a gay bar, do you find it hard to be around affection between two people of the same gender?" That night before finals, Robert came to my dorm and asked if I wanted to stay locally for summer internship, offering me a place in his off-campus apartment. "It would just be the two of us. You like quiet places, and there's no nearby elementary school, so fewer noisy kids around." In the middle of his constant talk, I leaned in and kissed him suddenly. That night, he softly murmured, "Aiden, my love, finished filming?" I said, watching Robert, who now looked noticeably more mature and radiant, stand up. He paused for a moment, then gave a knowing look. "Want to grab dinner?" He leaned back lazily on the sofa, one leg crossed over the other. "Sorry, I've got a tight schedule." I glanced at my phone and started walking toward the exit. "Since the shoot is done, I'll head out now." Robert didn't even grab his sunglasses, quickly standing up and stepping right behind me. Stepping out of the company building, he glanced around with a quick scan, his expression clearly showing he just gained an advantage. "It's this late already. Your boyfriend still hasn't come to pick you up. You might have been better off with me back then." Before he could finish speaking, a white Porsche slowly pulled up in front of us. The window rolled down, revealing a man with a calm and composed expression. "Aiden, is the shoot finished?" Robert's smile froze instantly. The project has been going really smoothly, but the real highlight was getting to meet Mr. Aiden." Colin took a sip of his drink, a hint of amusement in his voice. "After dinner, How about we unwind with a soak at a hot spring? I know a new place nearby. It's got great facilities. As a key partner in the industry, our collaboration with him will only grow stronger from here on out. I smiled and nodded. I'd be honored to accept. As I stepped out of the private room, a faint sensation of being watched flickered across my awareness. But every time I turned around, all I saw were unfamiliar faces passing by. I thought it was just exhaustion from nonstop work. But even after I took off my clothes and settled into the pool, that uneasy feeling of being watched still lingered strongly. Colin, you go ahead and soak for a bit. I'll be back soon. I gave him a light smile and quietly stepped out of the water without drawing attention. No one on the left, but on the right. I paused for a moment, then slowly sat down by the edge of the pool. He stared silently for a long time, finally unable to hold back and spoke. Can you hear me? Like hell I can. The man hadn't even had time to change out of his shoot clothes today. His cream-colored sweater was soaked through, clinging to him and dripping water down his body. His back pressed hard against the stone wall, too distracted to turn around, voice sharp with irritation. Then he froze. Something clicked, and suddenly spun around. Aiden, the moment he saw me, Robert's thick lashes gave a quick, nervous flutter. For just an instant, his expression faltered, then instantly returned to the composed pride and ease of a nobleman, his eyebrows lifting slightly as he sneered. Mr. Aiden really doesn't know his own limits, he said with icy indifference. Just an insignificant ex-boyfriend. Do you seriously think I'd care, get jealous, or rush to eavesdrop on the wall just because you showed up with someone new? He leaned back lazily, letting out a sharp scoff. You really think too highly of yourself. What was Robert even talking about? What new lover? What jealousy? For now, I'll set that aside and lock eyes with him. You've been following me the whole way, right? His eyes were pale, like a clear lake. He glanced at me quietly, then looked down. I don't know what you're talking about. Besides, Robert shot me a sideways look, letting out a soft snort with a faint smile, half self-mocking, half mocking. If it were you, would you really go chasing after your ex-boyfriend who dumped you? His dark hair, dampened by the mist, clung to his forehead, and his lips pressed into a rigid line, tight with stubborn resolve. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. A calm voice suddenly cut in. Aiden, why did you take so long? Who's this? Robert's face went pale in an instant. He stared intensely at the man resting a hand on my shoulder, his expression dark and tense. You're Robert, Colin exclaimed with delight. My daughter really likes you. Could I get your autograph? Aiden, Robert said, as if he'd just heard something utterly unbelievable. He took a sharp breath, his eyes locked onto me with intense focus, voice tight with emotion. You'd choose an older man with a family over me? 10. Oh, Mr. Colin raised an eyebrow in surprise, his gaze lingering thoughtfully between me and Robert, then letting out a quiet chuckle as he looked down. It seems Aiden has something to take care of. I'll head back to the pool and wait for you. Sorry about that, I said with a polite smile. I need to step away for a moment. I frowned and pulled Robert outwards. Sorry. Gotta step away for a bit. In the stairwell, Robert leaned against the wall with his arms crossed, looking relaxed and unconcerned. He glanced down at me, dripping with sarcasm. Looks like I showed up at a bad time. Interrupting the two of you, even in a public place like a hot spring. Can you keep it under control? Really need to calm down the energy here. He glanced sideways with a smirk that carried clear mockery and sarcasm. Looks like your charm hasn't faded at all. Aiden, even after having a daughter, someone still finds you appealing? What's wrong with you? I can't help but sigh. Colin's straight. Hearing that, he froze for a moment, his gaze fixed on the celadone vase at the hallway entrance, not moving for a long time. After a long pause, he finally spoke in disbelief. You're the one chasing after him? Can we even have a normal conversation anymore? He's my client. You two aren't in a relationship, are you? Robert's eyes flickered slightly, a ripple passing through like water. So the phone call that night was, my voice came out hoarse. It was my mom, no current boyfriend. Is that clear enough? 11. After that night, Robert showed in his actions what it truly meant to stand out with confidence. He changed his outfit every day and would appear at my company's entrance right on time, making sure he was noticed. The female colleagues at the company started showing up with makeup on, something they hadn't done in ages. Some even quietly offered me small favors, asking which young woman had caught young Master Liang's attention. His recent work photos on Weibo had suddenly become hundreds of times more frequent, but today felt strange. I glanced behind me. We were already at the building door, but he wasn't in sight. Just as I reached the second-floor landing, I suddenly heard a faint noise above, like something heavy hitting a wall. Could it be some kind of incident? My heart skipped a beat. I turned on my phone flashlight and slowly moved upward. The moment I saw what was happening at the doorstep, my eyes widened in shock. Robert! My voice trembled. Let go of him. Robert paid no attention, gripping the young man's collar and pressing him firmly against the wall. Henry winced in pain, his eyes shut tight, struggling to breathe. I took a deep breath, then spoke with a cold tone. Have you forgotten how we ended things back then? Robert suddenly let go, his eyes wide with worry as he looked at me. I didn't, Aiden. Please just listen to me first. 12. Aiden and Robert officially started dating at the end of their sophomore year, and they broke up a year after graduation. Back then, Robert was gradually gaining recognition online, while I had only been working at my company for half a year and was overwhelmed with work every day. That night, I was given too much to drink at the dinner table, and my mind went hazy for a moment. I could feel someone brushing against the back of my hand and heard a man's thick, unsettling breath close to my ear. Aiden, you have such a good appearance. Why work so hard? Just behave nicely, and promotion would come easily. When Robert arrived to pick me up, that's exactly the scene he saw. There was no doubt he reacted immediately. The air around me was filled with the sharp scent of blood. Then came the woman's reddened eyes. You're a good kid, but Robert gave up going back to his home country just to be with you. Now this huge incident has happened. The other party is quite powerful. Robert's built a public career. Can you really live with yourself if it all falls apart because of this? Her emotions gradually calmed, and her gaze held a hint of sympathy. This situation needs a lot of money and connections to be handled quietly. From what I know, your family isn't in a strong position, is it? I stayed silent, saying nothing. That's exactly why I pushed myself so hard since joining the company. To get closer to Robert, with just you and Robert, this situation won't be resolved. Make a choice, young man. I had nothing to offer, so I made the choice to end things. While Robert was being questioned, I packed up all my belongings that night and disappeared completely from his life. He didn't stop looking for me. He called relentlessly, refusing to let go. We went back and forth for who knows how long, and I finally said tiredly, "You're too intense. We're not right for each other," then blocked all his contacts in the midst of his repeated pleas of "Don't leave me, I'll change," cutting off all contact completely. 13. After getting Henry to the hospital, I planned to have a serious talk with Robert, but just as I turned around, he was nowhere to be found. I couldn't reach him by phone or get any replies to my messages. I only found out where he was when I got a call from his agent. Robert had been drinking and was refusing to leave the front of my house. "You're finally here." The agent rushed to hand me the recovery drink, looking relieved. "He's been holding onto the bottle and calling out for you all this time." 14. Robert was sitting on the ground, his long legs drawn up in a pouty, vulnerable way, his face flushed with color. When he saw me, his amber eyes lit up brighter than stars in the night sky. "My love." After carefully laying him down on the sofa, I rested my hand on my back and caught my breath for a long while. "My love, my love." Robert suddenly rolled over and grabbed my hand. Before I could react, I was pulled into his arms. His eyes lit up with delight. "Got you." The move was so smooth, I'd almost think he was faking being drunk if not for the silly look on his face. "Why did you hit him?" I lay beneath him, my voice calm and composed. Robert buried his face in the curve of my neck, rubbing against me with soft murmurs. Only after I gave him a firm pinch did he reluctantly lift himself up. "I didn't attack him. He secretly set up a camera at your door and has been following us for days, but I caught on to it first." His eyes sparkled, fixed on me as if waiting for praise. Seeing that I didn't react, Robert leaned in to kiss me, but I turned my head away. The kiss missed, and a storm brewed in his amber eyes. Until they met mine, softening instantly, he stayed quietly pressed against me, silent for a long time with no reaction. Robert has come a long way now. My decision back then must have been the right one, wasn't it? I gazed at the ceiling, lost in thought, noticing the person on top of me trembling uncontrollably. I instinctively frowned, pushing against his shoulder. I was shocked to realize Robert was crying. Those once vibrant amber eyes were now red-rimmed, filled with confusion, hurt, and pain. He said, "Aiden, why are you pulling away from me? Is it true that you don't want me anymore? No matter what I did back then, I'm not letting go now." 15. He didn't know how long he'd been asleep, but his head ached as if it were about to burst. Just when he opened his eyes, the face of another main character from his dream was right in front of him. Robert was quietly crouched in front of the sofa, chin resting on his hand. Those pure and deep light amber eyes seemed like a strong gravitational pull, fixed intently on me. I jumped in shock and slapped him hard with a sharp smack. Robert's cheerful expression hadn't even had time to fade. He just stared, hand flying up to his face, eyes slowly filling with tears. His long lashes lowered as he whispered, "Honey, why did you hit me? Why did I hit you?" Anyone would react in shock, waking up to see a face suddenly right in front of them, no matter how handsome it is. I quickly sat up, studying him closely. "How long have you been watching?" Robert kept his head down, speaking so softly I could barely hear. "Since you fell asleep, I've been here." That means he slipped out of the bedroom as soon as I closed my eyes. "Don't you ever sleep?" Robert swallowed hard, then looked up at me. "I do sleep, I really do. But I'm afraid." His eyes grew soft with a hint of moisture. "I'm afraid that if I open my eyes again, you'll be gone once more." As he spoke, he suddenly smiled warmly. "Good thing you're still here this time. Aiden, are you still feeling the effects of the drink?" I gave him a cautious look and held up 2 fingers in front of his face. "How many is this?" Robert quickly took my hand, our fingers interlocking. He brushed his nose lightly against the bones of my fingers, then tilted his head and rested it there, eyes bright with warmth. "Is this what you're hoping for? 2 rings? All right, it's clear he's completely out of it from drinking." I yawned hard. Hadn't slept well all night, so tired I could barely keep my eyes open. With only an hour and a half until work, I set the alarm, then didn't bother with him anymore and turned over to sleep again. Let him have his fill. He can look all he wants. 16. I woke up again, squeezed by someone. I was nearly squeezed into the sofa crack, and the person behind me kept pressing against me. I was half awake when I gently pushed back the warm chest behind me and sat up, only for a long arm to reach out and pull me back into an embrace. "Sleep a little longer, baby." Robert held my waist and turned me around so we faced each other, still wrapped in a tight hug with eyes closed. "Wait, what time is it now?" I snapped awake and quickly pulled away from Robert, reaching past him to grab the phone on the coffee table. "Aiden?" Robert was startled by my movement and froze when he saw my face. He pushed himself up and rubbed his temple. "What am I doing here?" I ignored him and went straight to unlocking my phone. Something must have triggered a memory. Robert's body went rigid in an instant, then his eyes widened in shock. He reacted sharply, collapsing backward so hard that the sofa scraped across the floor and trembled. I didn't actually hurt him. I just gave a warning. "Did you turn off my alarm?" I cut him off, a pulse thudding in my temple. "What?" Robert paused, his eyes lowering as he tried to recall. I think I might have. I was half asleep. Can you just trust me this time?" "I'm not acting on impulse anymore." I pushed him off the couch with a quick kick and rushed into the bedroom. "We'll talk about this when I get back. I'm late for work." 17. When I got home, it was already 9 o'clock at night. As soon as I opened the door, Robert came out from the bedroom like a nervous young man, quickly taking my coat and hanging it on the rack. Watching him look so hopeful and worried, just about to speak, suddenly there was a knock at the door. Aiden, are you home?" My expression tightened, and I quickly pushed Robert toward the bedroom. "Go inside now, close the door, and stay there. Don't come out." "Aiden." The usually cold and aloof voice was now slightly hoarse. Robert stared into my eyes, his eyes reddened. There was a look of defiance, mixed with deep despair. Is what you're going to tell me tonight the same as before? Aiden. The voice persisted from outside, the doorbell ringing again and again, the phone screen flashing on and off repeatedly. The person outside kept pressing the doorbell, and the phone screen lit up repeatedly before fading again. I let out a sigh. Not this time, just go inside. Robert's eyes brightened instantly, his lips pressed tightly together as he thought of something. Then why should I keep hiding? He gripped the hem of my jacket firmly, his long leg bracing against the bedroom door, refusing to let it close. I took off my suit coat abruptly, seizing the moment when Robert was distracted by the fabric to push him into the bedroom, speaking coldly, "Stay inside." "Aiden, why didn't you answer your phone?" Daniel said with a cheerful grin, holding up a black flash drive. "You left this one at Sophia's today. She was worried you might need it, so she asked me to bring it over on my way." "Thanks. Would you like to come in for a drink of water?" I took the flash drive and stepped aside to make room. "No thanks, Aiden." Daniel scratched the back of his head, a shy smile appearing on his clear features. "I need to rush off to line up for my girlfriend's snack. See you later." After seeing Daniel off, Robert slowly made his way out of the bedroom. His amber eyes, like a shimmering lake in sunlight, glanced at me briefly before gently lowering. I left your clothes and phone in your bedroom. I'm heading out now." His face turned noticeably red, his gaze lowered, taking light, unsteady steps past me before opening the door and walking out. I checked the hallway several times, and only then realized that Robert had really left. He was just looking so down a moment ago. How could he just walk away without even waiting for an outcome? After brushing my teeth and lying down on the bed, I opened my phone to scroll through Weibo and stumbled upon something even more unbelievable. The only account I followed, Loves Eating Oranges, had posted 4 updates all at once. A guy showed up at midnight looking for his wife, but she told me to hide in the bedroom. What should I do? Xiao Yugan. Congratulations, brother. It looks like your wife is about to get a new husband. Orange Lover replied to Xiao Yugan. Impossible. Even though I've been apart from my wife for half a year, and even though he hasn't answered my calls or pushed me away, that guy definitely doesn't have my looks, or my figure, or my money. What chance does he even have against me? The post itself seemed normal, but what was strange were the second and third ones. They each just had a single period, as if testing something. The 4th post was published over an hour later, featuring pictures showcasing his physique. So that's why he rushed off earlier. He must have been heading straight to the gym? Love Eating Oranges was Robert's Weibo side account, which I discovered and followed shortly after we started dating. Following this naming pattern, I managed to uncover several of Robert's social media accounts, but Robert himself had no idea. In sharp contrast to Robert's proud and aloof personality, his Weibo accounts were full of everyday little musings. The first time he kissed, he wrote down an entire 10,000 words to document it, from what he was wearing that day, the exact words he said before the kiss and the mood around him, all the way down to the position and duration of the kiss. Every detail was carefully recorded, so he could figure out my preferences and be ready for the next time he wanted a kiss. Eventually, his little account had mostly turned into Aiden's daily life. My partner doesn't like things to be rough. My partner came back minutes later than usual. Todd. My partner kissed me. My partner gave me a scolding. After the breakup, Robert significantly reduced his social media activity. Until tonight, when he posted 4 updates in a row. That wasn't all. When Robert woke up the next day, he posted another update. It was a partial selfie taken from a slanted angle, with no visible face. Caption: Being loved is definitely worth documenting. His hair looked carefully styled, and his naturally pale complexion made the earrings, glinting with a soft emerald sheen under the flash, stand out even more, making the skin on his neck appear even paler. Robert posted another selfie, one taken in the driver's seat giving a peace sign, and another showing him wearing a mask at the neighborhood entrance. In that frozen moment, his captivating eyes curved into a gentle arc as he gazed at the camera, full of warmth and tenderness. My brushing motion paused for a moment. If I'm not mistaken, that's my apartment complex entrance in the photo, isn't it? It's so cold this time of year. Why is he standing outside in just a thin crewneck sweater? I grabbed my coat and rushed downstairs. There, by the sycamore tree, the man leaning against the security booth with one leg bent. It was definitely Robert. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. He quickly pulled off his mask and shivered. I'm freezing. Seeing his nose was red from the cold, I immediately wrapped the coat around him and gave him a sharp look. Come on, upstairs with me. Robert pulled the coat tightly around himself and followed along obediently. From behind the security booth, someone murmured quietly, "Was my jacket not nice enough?" He didn't even want to wear it earlier. 19. Robert's actions clearly showed just how easily someone can take advantage of even a little kindness and climb the ladder quickly when given an opening. I had just put down my keys when I turned around. There he was, already at the bedroom door, slipping into bed as if it were completely natural. I had almost slapped him, but seeing how fast he fell asleep and looked so content, I ended up letting my hand drop without striking. In contrast to his bold attitude when awake, Robert was very gentle and straightforward after drinking or once he was asleep. You could easily read what he wanted to say just by looking into his eyes. When happy, he'd close his eyes slightly and smile at you, hugging your neck and calling you honey. And when feeling hurt, those light-colored eyes would slowly grow reddish, then quietly shed a tear. How many pillows had he soaked through over the years since our breakup? I let out a soft sigh and gently tucked the blanket around him. After hesitating for a few seconds, I finally leaned down and placed a quiet kiss on the forehead of the one who was sound asleep. I'll be back soon. 20. The interview's about done now, and since so many fans are asking, could we get into a personal question? Yeah, go ahead. Around M, on February th, you released a demo track called Spring Sound. We noticed the lyrics are quite sweet, and fans have been buzzing about it, saying you've got a new crush. Is there anything you'd like to share with all the fans who care about your personal life? Robert paused for a few seconds, looked up at the camera, raised an eyebrow slightly, and said, "You could put it that way. Oh well, I hope Robert finds love and it goes smoothly. Thank you all for your kind wishes," he said, a gentle smile touching his lips. Fate is something that can't be forced. It's rare to find, but I'm grateful I've finally come across it. Now, we'll be getting married in half a year. In the days ahead, I'll be building our life together with him, turning every ordinary moment into something beautiful, and we truly appreciate your continued support.